What? Hello, and welcome to a discussion on patience with a friend of mine, Glenda Kroll. Let me bring her in. There we are. Hello, my friend.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great today. It's been
Wonderful.
a very full, great day.
You're looking shiny in your gold, but we both wear gold. Nice. I like that. Ready to shine today. Wonderful. Well, our audience, some of my audience knows you from the Mother Shape the Future Summit I did in June, but could you introduce yourself again for anyone else who doesn't already know who you are?
So thank you very much for inviting me here. My name is Glenda Kroll. I am an empowerment coach and for personal lives as well as in business, because we all know that everything that we do in life personally affects everything around us. So it affects our business, it affects the way we think and everything else. So I work with women mainly who are looking to rebuild their lives and maybe creating something in this new portion of their life that they want to create, which meaning maybe an online business or so forth. So
Yes.
I'm here to help you empower yourself, to grow yourself. And with all of that becomes patience.
Yes, and that's what we're discussing today. And I know you've helped me as I've consulted with you, and I find you to be a very wise woman with great patience, even with me. And I knew you'd be perfect for speaking on this today. So, to start the discussion, do you have any examples of how you've learned to be patient over your lifetime, and some of those things that were worth waiting for?
Okay, yeah, I've got tons of things that have happened, and I learned this as a child. I learned this from my own siblings, and many a times I've told people that I have two brothers with special needs, and when you have, and I'm the youngest of four, so as a little child, I had to learn patience, and that was one thing that I had a hard time with because I was one who wanted everything now. And when you have people in your life, especially family members, who have learning disabilities, nothing comes right away, and you have to learn to have those special patience in your life to to be able even to get along with others. So and I think that some ways all through my life, one of my major lessons has always been patience. So it's when things don't happen when I want them to, I go, okay, I guess this is another one of my lessons in this, because I have to learn how to be patient. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves of that.
Absolutely, especially with others. I think there's two sides to it. There's being patient with ourselves and our goals and our dreams and the things that we're working towards. And then there's being patient with others. And then there's just in general being patient with circumstances and working with what you have to work with, and just trusting the process that some things take time, but the best things in life are worth waiting for. And it makes sense to build a foundation. I think patience is something that lets you go back to your core and your values and look inside and make sure that you're making decisions and you're proceeding from a foundation of values and principles instead of from emotions or circumstance or whatever may be going on in the situation. You can step outside of yourself and check to make sure it's in alignment with yourself. Do you find that to be true as well?
Absolutely. But you know, and here's the thing of patience comes from learning from as a child. You know, it's also, we have to really realize, as you know, I'm a mom of, now I have two grown children, and you know, there's, no matter how old they get, I always tell that to my son, is no matter how old you are, you'll always be my baby. But you know, at this point is they are grown adults and have had to learn. And even my children taught me the lessons of being patient and looking actually into myself. And I thought that today we should sort of climb through on maybe the way how we look at things. And maybe we start looking at patients as we start to go, as if we are going to become teachers as we are. We, you know, we're, you know, it's the old story as when the student, what is the thing, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
And that's such an important lesson, because that's everything in our lives. So, first of all, there's an old saying that says patience is a virtue, but people don't always understand what a virtue is.
Mm.
So, we start with learning that virtue is, it's a behavior of showing up with moral standards, learning, you know, of what is right and what is wrong. And that's such an important thing today. And in some cases, I think it's kind of lost a little bit. So it's about, you know, we have to learn and instill in our children, but we also have to step back and look at ourselves.
Mhm.
And I know as a mom, that was one of my biggest lessons that I learned, because I didn't realize as a mom, when my first child, when my son was born, and you know, I didn't realize that your kids watch every single thing you do.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
they do.
listen. They're you know, they're little sponges, and we all know that they're all little sponges. But the whole part is they listen and they learn from everything that you do. And we have to start by realizing that no matter whether it's our children or people around us, people are watching everything we do. You know, we don't even realize. You know, sometimes we say, "Oh, nobody's watching me," but you know what? There's somebody out there watching. So really be careful of what you're putting out. I remember one time driving somewhere and was trying to get a parking spot, and my little boy was 2 years old in the back seat, and somebody took my parking spot, and I called her a terrible name. And when I came out of the car, I'm carrying him, and he saw her and he yelled at her what I called her. And at that moment, I went, whoa, because, right? I had, first of all, this was my first child. I didn't grow up with kids around and me, so I had no clue about that. But that was a lesson I learned very quickly. So, really start with learning of who you are and understanding, because we are the teachers of our best people that are around us. So patience starts with some things what people want all of us, and we're in a different world now. We're in a world that, everything's fast. Everything has to be, it's got to be now, now, now. And we don't have that patience because we're getting so used to that everything has to happen immediate. We have to have immediate gratification. And so there's a skill that we have to start building, is that we don't need immediate gratification. And that comes from what we need to start teaching others. And remember, we teach others how we want to be talked to be respected. And if we don't understand what we want and we need, we can't teach others of that.
Absolutely. And I think coming from an age where I remember when there were no computers, there were no cell phones, people had to come to your house to see you. They had to leave a message, maybe on the answering machine. It's a very different world that there's little effort to communicate. There's little effort to get that instant gratification. But what I think people don't realize is it's all kind of marketing and it's all psychology. And they're intending to get you on for as long as they possibly can. And if that's the intent, I think it changes your perspective of the time you're spending on social media and what you're allowing into your life. Is it adding to your life, or are you losing time with it? Especially with my girls right now, I'm really trying to show them that we never had tablets before COVID or anything like that on purpose. I wanted them to learn how not to get addicted to the instant gratification. But it's out there. It's an option. So it's a matter of self-discipline. And it's a matter of slowing down and really just being aware of what you're doing with your time.
Totally. And we have to remember that patience helps us to develop the ability to think through problems, to resolve problems and all that. It has a lot more than we actually understand what's involved with it. There's so much importance to patience. It's not just about standing in line and waiting for our turn to come, which is important. But when we have that patience that we can actually start to think things through, it actually develops us a better train of thought, so that when something comes up to us when situations arise, we have that ability to actually step back and think it through, because we have the patience. But if we need immediate gratification, then we're not going to do what we need to do.
I remember one time I was in line at the post office, and it was during COVID. And so things were nuts with mail, right? And there's people in line and something was taking too long and you could just see everyone being grumpy. Well, I'm there realizing, is that you or me?
Yeah, that was me. I thought I had shut off all these things. Okay.
We're live. Whee! But I'm in line and I've worked a lot of different jobs. I've been everything from a janitor to fast food to anything like that. So when I'm in these long lines and I see what's going on, I really try to see it from the perspective of the person who's serving me and thinking about how the long day that they've had, what they're dealing with, that they're doing their best under the circumstances. There's no reason for me to get impatient and just add to the stress of the situation. And there was one instance in particular, my son was with me being super cute, and it was enough to distract everyone to have one person just be calm. It made everyone else in line calm. So I think we underestimate the power of being patient, and that it can be kind of this beautiful way to give positive energy to everyone in a room when there's a situation that can be deflated by just taking a breath and just letting things flow as they're going to flow.
And there's the other part of it. First of all, nothing has to be perfect in life. And once we realize that, we know that we can have the patience within ourselves to start doing it. So, it all starts, first of all, from modeling. We teach by modeling, and we have to realize, no matter if you're modeling to your children, if you're in business and you have your own, whether it's you and your clients or whether you're employees, we model about how we want to be and how we want to be treated. So it comes from all that. So let's start with, if you were actually being a model for your children and they all of a sudden, maybe things didn't work out. Maybe your child was having a hard day. And what ends up happening is, as a mother, maybe we're a little bit on the, tired side. Things have been maybe the child has been pushing things, and then we snap. And because, all of a sudden we don't have that patience anymore. Like, why can't you stop that? Now, we have to understand that, first of all, we're human. So we do things without sometimes thinking, and because of our levels of patience isn't there. But here's the thing. Go back to your child and apologize, that it was wrong. We have to understand we all do things that are wrong, and nothing has to be perfect. But we need to take responsibility of what we do.
Oh, absolutely. And rushing decisions, there's always going to be regret. You're never going to regret taking the time to think something through. And I think with children too, we try to treat them like adults. We can't. I mean, special needs is one thing, but every child is at a different developmental state. There's only certain ways that they can even comprehend what you're trying to explain to them or what they're doing because of their brain development. And if you're not sensitive to that, it does more harm than good. And I took child development in college, and I was like, we all need to be learning this. Everyone should be taking this because
Yes.
it gives you the patience that you need to realize this is what they can comprehend. This is realistic for their ability at this age, and this is not realistic for their ability at this age. And I recently wrote a post about how we don't expect babies to walk in a month. But it's funny how we expect other people or other adults to create miracles for us because we just expect them to be able to do it. And so expectations is with patience too. I think sometimes you have to let go of the outcome of doing the right thing. And that's patience because you're planting a seed. You're still planting a seed for something later. So let it go. Do your part and let go of what the result is after that.
That's right. So take time, take time to come down to your child's level or whoever person it is. It's always great to step back and listen to that person. And first of all, that's the whole thing. We don't listen. So we need to stop. And if someone's having a rough time, whether it is your child, whether you're in business, there's always a reason. And if we can step back for a moment and listen carefully without like most people listen and they're ready to jump into with a response. But if you stop and listen, no response, and stop for a minute and actually digest what they say, then you can come back with a response, because then you actually understand where they're coming from.
Then you have the whole picture and you have their perspective. Because until you have their perspective, you don't really know what's going on. You're jumping to conclusions and assumptions from your own patterns, your own life, and your own way of living and how you perceive the world. But that's the beautiful thing about us being individuals. We all perceive the world differently. And that can be a beautiful thing if we embrace it. I love collaborating with other people because the outcome is always better when you include everyone's ideas, but you have to be patient enough to give everyone a voice and everyone a chance to communicate without judgment and without any restrictions, so they feel comfortable and trust you to hear them out, and then to honor what works and what doesn't work in a kind way. This is in the workplace, this is in families, this is in relationships, it's everywhere. And we've lost so much in our communication because we don't have to talk face to face, which dehumanizes the communication, or we think a text is enough, and it's not enough. You don't know what the body language is, you don't know what the intent is. It can be so easily misconstrued. It's not enough. We really need to make more effort to be in person now that we can, Zoom is pretty darn close. It's
No, and
pretty.
I actually do, like when I have communication with clients, if I can't meet them in person, which is fine, I'm not interested in just having a telephone conversation. I want to see people's face. I want to be able to, there's a connection there. I like to connect with people, and this, like I said, one of the most important factors is to be able to actually stop having that perception already and just sit back and listen to what is going on. And
Yeah.
same with children, and it's same with an employee, they're still people. Everybody's got a life outside of what they're involved in, and something is happening. And we have to remember when we're going through things, if we're having problems with our family, or somebody is sick, God forbid, or your business isn't doing the numbers or whatever, it affects us in all different ways. So we need to step back to listen to what somebody has to say, give them the benefit of the doubt. We don't need to knock somebody down, no matter who they are. Name calling, and it's same thing with the children. How quick is it that parents, are giving names out to their children, knock them down, and which will affect them for the rest of their lives if they're constantly being, given names to them. Like, even, what, you're always making up things. You talk about things, and when they start doing that to their children, they're actually cutting them out and cutting them down before they even have that time. So it all starts with, there's reasons why people react in different ways. So we need to come down to them, to their level, whoever they are, or join them at their level, and just start finding out through it what's frustrating you, what's going on. If you come up with an open heart and willing to learn and have an understanding there, that's what's going to come on. They're going to be able to open up with you, because they see that you're not cutting them out. You're being patient with them.
Absolutely. And you'll get better results because they won't feel panic or stress to get into any of it. They'll be able to think through what they're doing and be calm, and they trust you. I think patience builds a lot of trust in relationships as well.
Patience builds everything. It builds a relationship. It builds love and understanding. There's techniques that we can use, that we can start from a young age right up to the top. Here's the most, and I don't think you've gotten to this point yet. There's the hardest part in being a mother is going through when your kids are in teens. Teenhood is a very difficult time.
Yeah, I'm about to go there. Advise me, please.
So, you know what? It's not the hardest time. Why? Because you have to insert trust, you have to insert love, and you definitely have to insert patience.
Yes.
Stop jumping to conclusions.
Well, the
Allow
beautiful thing
it.
is they can communicate. Whereas when they're little and they're hurt or they're sick or something, they can't communicate. I'd say that's difficult. And so I do appreciate that new level, but they're becoming their own person and forming their own opinion. So what I thought of them as a little person or what they like is changing. I had a daughter who loved pink and now she loves red. So I had all this pink stuff and now that's not a safe bet anymore. And it's like, oh, okay. So I got to adjust. I have to be patient with that and be like, okay, now how do we get red into her life? So, I mean, it's a simple thing, but
But yeah, it's a great way of sort of showing it that it can be, and it's good. Like they can express themselves, and they can tell. I've said this many a times. I have always had a rule with my kids. If it's anything that's going to hurt you physically, and my answer is no, my answer is no. If it's anything that would hurt you. But if it's anything that I say no to and you can convince me otherwise, I will definitely listen. And you know what's happened? 9 times out of 10, I changed my mind. And it gave them the thing of saying, she hears me.
Yeah. And isn't that all of it? We all just want to be seen. We all
And
just want to be heard. We all want to love and be loved in return. It's so simple. We all have the same basic needs. We just need to be more sensitive to it. I think what's happening is our judgment is really flawed. I think if you want to be patient, you've got to get off social media, because this whole like or dislike in 10 seconds looking at a picture is it will mentally mess you up, because you're going to start making more judgments quickly and quickly and quickly and quickly. And judgment should not be made quickly. One picture, a highlight reel on social media, does not tell the whole story. It's just a highlight. And it's unfortunate, because I'm worried about this as I have teenagers. I mean, everything is available now. You could be caught on a video doing something because you weren't patient, or bullying online. It's unfortunately, it can be a beautiful tool, social media, to build each other, to help each other out,
Yeah.
to ask for help, to receive help, to do coaching. There's so many wonderful ways to use it with patience, but the instant gratification, the quick judgment is so detrimental. If you can get away from social media for 3 days, I bet you'd be surprised how much time it was taking, and how it made you impatient, and how it affected your judgment. And so that would be my challenge to anyone listening. Just get off for 3 days and see what the difference is.
But start with little steps. I'm a big advocate of little steps in everything in life, because that's how I did everything through when I went through times of trials, of where things were difficult in my life. Start with something really easy. Have a time where, I when my kids were home, we always had family dinner. And I grew up that way, and my kids now have grown up that way. But here's the thing, and when we sit down for dinner, and even now when they come to visit, there's no phones at the table. Everybody puts their phone down at the table. If the phone rings, we don't get it. The phone, we're together, that's more important than any phone call that will ever come in. So
Exactly.
it stops with, we give ourselves respect, each one of us. My children have always respected me, but I respect them. I have understanding, and things that have happened, it's okay. We all do things that maybe we're not proud of, but that's all part of growing up too. And
Yeah.
we can have that bit of understanding. And, I always had told my children during the time, when you get into trouble or something happens, anything, don't even hesitate, phone me. No questions asked. We'll discuss it at a later time if it's something important, but don't think twice. You phone me, I'm here. I'm there no matter what. And it gives them that, having that trust, that knowing that I'm not going to come down on them. We're going to talk about it. And 9 times out of 10, it's been really nothing.
Yeah.
And we got to be open and patient to understand, to love, and to hear each other out. But it starts with what happens around in your environment, in your home. Give your significant other, if you have a significant other, do you give yourselves time to talk to things, or do you wait till the point where things are hitting so hard that every time that person opens their mouth, you're jumping down their throat because you've never had given them the respect when something comes up to talk about it before it turns into being a major situation?
What I'm hearing from you is like having the long game in mind. If you're in a significant relationship, you have to have the same vision in mind, and you have to have some planning and some goals towards that vision together, or you get derailed by the things of life, and it's easy to lose patience with each other. With our children, you got to think, how are the effects of what I'm about to say going to affect this child in the long run? So patience is really looking beyond the moment. And it's funny because there's this balance, the balance of being present in the moment and not in the past and not worried about the future, but yet respecting the future that you are building for yourself and for others with your patience, and being patient in the present moment, but also being patient in the future unfolding and manifesting itself with the right foundation.
So yes, that is very important. Understanding, so that you're not at that point of frustration in your life, in your family, in your relationships, because once you get into frustration, then you're not going to have that patience with one another. You're not going to be listening. You're not going to be spending the time. You're not listening to the words, because at that point you're shutting down. Your ears are closed. So patience is something that starts at, at the moment is, can you be patient with yourself?
Yeah.
Life wasn't born in a minute. We didn't all of a sudden just happen. We got to learn that, when something, it just as you said earlier, when you're planting for a flower, it all starts with a seed. When that seed goes into the soil, we don't see things coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea what's going on underneath. I remember in school how you had to start planting things, and so you could start seeing, and they did it in a glass, so you could start seeing the roots forming and how it was coming up. And that's how we started learning about what happens with a seed. And it was a while before that green came out of the soil. So it's like everything else. When you're starting to plan your life, if you're even planning a trip, whatever you're doing, it all starts from a seed, an idea. I go always through everything that is always an end goal. And then through that end goal, where can I start? It's that first step. But this first step is with you. Taking a step back sometimes. If things are too hard, if life is getting too powerful and there's too much commotion, then you got to get out to Mother Nature and go for a walk and unplug. Forget about the telephone. Forget about plugging things into your ears. Walk in nature. That groundingness settles you, because the worst thing is when we get to that point, then we start to hit where we end up having anxiety attacks, and then we can go into depressions, and it just goes skyrocketing all the way down below. And before you know it, you're sick, you're not well, and there can be many, many things that go on. So don't get to that point.
Yeah. So a practice of self-care, the internal work. We talked a lot about relationships, but there's this internal work. You have to have patience with yourself. I did a course on self-compassion, and I rave about it because it helped me so much during COVID. But a lot of it was just realizing your common humanity, that you're not the first person to go through this. You're not the first person to suffer or have pain or have trauma or have a disappointment. And that failures aren't failures, they're lessons. And I think that's part of patience too, is not giving up and just realizing there's something to learn here. What am I meant to learn in this moment? And something that came to me while you're talking about the seeds is, we do plant the seed and then we don't see anything, but we still have to nurture the seed. So we have to nurture having patience. We still have to feed ourselves good things, and we have to still be patient with people over a period of time to see the results.
Right, because not everybody sees and is going to be involved in what we want in our lives. Now, we don't have to be accepted by everybody in our lives, but the important people around us, it is really important that we have that connection with. But again, it starts with you.
Yeah.
It starts with giving yourself that love, that understanding, that things like just as you just said, failure. Well, we're not perfect. It's those failures, those moments that we learn are greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can shift to something else.
Exactly.
And right. So if we feel that we are on a mode of self-destruction, that's what we're going to be showing others, which means that it's just like a hurricane coming through. And it's going to come onto us, our relationships. And remember, if we are not looking after ourselves and we're not patient with our own self, because it's just like going on a diet, how many times people want to go on a diet and they consider themselves, they say they're going to go on a diet. They go on a diet for the first 2-3 weeks, and then they fall off, or maybe they don't lose weight as fast as they would like to lose weight. So all of a sudden, I've been dieting for 3 weeks and I only lost a pound. I've heard that many a times.
Yep.
Then they don't have the patience with themselves. So right away, then they start to going into the binge eating or just falling off, because they don't have that patience to say, okay, Well, you know what? Maybe I have to wait a little longer, or maybe I have to get out and start moving a little bit more so the weight will come off faster. But maybe you're starting to feel better because you actually started at this point to start eating better. Maybe you're sleeping better. We don't look at all the other things around that we need to look at. Nothing's black and white. It just, even to eat well affects so many different areas of your own body.
Absolutely, down to a cellular level. And even the thoughts that you have affect you. Water cells, when labeled, positive words are beautiful. When labeled with negative words, are shattered and chaotic. We do that to ourselves with our thoughts. And that's where it's really important that we're patient with ourselves. So, what are some practices that you do or you have clients do on a daily basis to help them be grounded and centered and make not practice just this thing we talk about, but actually internalize it and make it part of habits and lifestyle?
Well, my morning ritual is very important, and I actually have just finished doing, and I'm just in the midst of doing up an ebook to talk about one of my parts of important of a morning ritual. So, having great night's sleep is really important. Starting off your day with having, and what I started doing is I'm preparing the night before. So start by the first thing when I get up in the morning, there's a glass of water by my bed. So that's the very first thing I do is I'm drinking a glass of water because that water actually is so important into our own bodies. And then from there, I meditate first before I do anything. And then I already have laid out shoes in the morning and my clothes. So I'm going out in the morning and I'm doing my walk. So being a mother nature, because when we can get rid of all that turmoil that's inside of us, we have more patience for others.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's doing all of these things because that's all self-care and self-love. The other part is, when you got to really be in tuned. And I really want people to listen to this, really important. Be in tuned of your emotions. Our emotions are our GPS. Our emotions tell us when we're happy. Why do we have emotions? They're meant to shift us. So when your stomach is feeling jumpy, I want you to start feeling it. I just started listening again to Eckhart Tolle of The Power of Now, because it had so much really incredible information. I listened to it a long time ago, and for whatever reason, I was driving, and I listened to a lot of things when I drive because I love to always build myself mentally and physically. But, listening to yourself and being powered within what's going on inside your body is so important. So being there by feeling how your stomach is, feeling what's going on in your head. Do you wake up and are you rested? Is there something that's going on in your mind? Recognize your first thoughts when you begin. Are you breathing? Most people breathe very shallow. And when we breathe shallow, it affects us mentally. We're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. They say that if they have found that people that walk every day for at least 20 minutes a day have a very low chance of dementia because they're actually getting more oxygen to the brain, which is not what's happening. That's one of the things that happens in dementia. So for me, it comes in my family. It's very much run, and that's one of the reasons. And first, so the major factor is I love to be outside and walking no matter what the temperature is. But knowing that it's doing good to my brain and to my body is enough to keep me going. But so breathing, listening to some music.
Good, wholesome music. Yes. I love brainwave music when I'm having a tough time, or like a little bubble bath and candles. Like, you need to treat yourself once in a while. You need to know but you got to find what works for you. Because I've heard a lots of morning routines. It's a very popular subject coming out of COVID, these ways to take care of ourselves. And everybody's got a different one. So I think the key is realize there's very simple things. 20 minutes in your day, you have that. You have that to go outside one way or another.
20
5
minutes,
minutes in the morning
yeah, or moving in your side.
Yeah. But build what works for you. Music is huge for me. I love music. It can get me out of a bad mood very quickly, like nothing else can. But I also need to move. I know that I like to dance or exercise, and that makes a big difference. But for someone else, it may be you love reading a book in the morning and stimulating your brain, or you love spending time with your animals in the morning, or you got to get that hug in the morning, or, whatever you need, high five, hug, there's lots and lots of ideas out there, but you have to first slow down enough to be aware. And when I first meditated was the first time I realized how unaware I was with myself. I had been go, 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 which was the standard not too long ago. That was seen as success, was go, 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 go. How much can you go? How much can you do? How many plates can you spin? And now we realize they crash and they come down and you burn out, and we have anxiety and depression over trying to be superhuman when we are meant to just be human so we can enjoy life. And so for me, the first time I meditated, and if you have a frustrating experience with some of these things the first time, you need to not give up. Like the first time I meditated was a complete disaster. My mind went here, my mind went there, my mind went everywhere. But someone had said, if I keep at it, if I keep bringing my mind back, if I keep bringing myself back, if I keep pushing that out, I keep bringing myself back, I would eventually be able to meditate properly. And it was true, but I had to stick with it. And that's something that I think with the instant gratification today, people, they give up too soon. Like it takes time. It takes 21 days to build a habit. It takes time to build anything. It also takes time to lose things, like not going to the gym for 2 weeks, you lose muscle mass. So if you give up too soon, or you don't create the lifestyle, you don't get the results. It's as simple as that. Habits and lifestyle.
It's true, but our bodies have memories. So, not too long ago, I had hurt myself and I couldn't walk for a while. And, I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And you know what? It took me no time, because your muscles have memories. And when you start working out again, you can build it, but you need to be building it during the time. But the other thing is one of the most important things is, if you fall off, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Give yourself that loving, and it's okay. We all are going to fall off sometimes. Certain things happen in life, and that's just fine. You just start all over again, and then you continue on. And maybe this time you'll last a little longer. It's really important. And if anybody is watching this and they have it, I just actually today was a great day. I built a habit tracker, and it's about keeping track of your habits so you can last that 21 days, so you can build it and start creating yourself. We're coming into a new, what is it? It's about 87 days, or I don't quote me on that right now, when we come into a new year. And, this is the time where everybody's building their ideas of, this is what they're going to start saying, that they're going to make this commitment come January the 1st. They're going to get on diets. They're going to, they're going to do all these, they're going to start working out and whatever, and they're going to do it. Well, start today. Don't wait for that to happen. Start building it today. Starting with having the understanding that things do happen in life, and have the patience with yourself and the love with yourself, that if you start today, then by January, you've already started to get on track with something. Because,
absolutely.
Right, it's a great way is now to start. Don't wait for tomorrow.
You don't need a new year. Tomorrow's a new day.
That's right. And every day you get up is a new day to create your life, your health, and your wealth. Because without your health, you have no wealth. And it doesn't matter about anything else. When you start by practicing on yourself, by loving yourself, having yourself, being patient with yourself, then you can be patient with others. But when you start to be knocking yourself down, you lose it right there. So we teach, right? We teach with what we are. We teach from that.
Absolutely. Oh, what a wonderful discussion. I think that's a beautiful place to end it, that, the more you practice it with yourself, the more you can give to others. And that's so many things. The more love you give to yourself, the more love you can give to others. It's just a beautiful place to end this, I think, today. And I really appreciate you coming and spending the time. We went a little over the agreed time, so thank you for allowing the discussion to continue. It was just going so well, and I enjoy talking to you so much. Thank you for those who have watched today. Be watching for another episode sometime next month with the new subject I haven't revealed yet. And so if you're interested in speaking on one of these on my podcast, please feel free to reach out to me. And Glenda, where can they find you if they'd like to reach out to you as a coach or for some words of wisdom or the ways to implement patience?
They can reach out to me. On social media, on Facebook, it's I am Glenda Kroll, Kroll, or if it's on Instagram, I am noted as being the wise woman's word. And or they can reach out to me. My email is info@glendakroll.com. I'm
Wonderful.
always free and love to help.
Yes, and she is more than generous in my experience and has a pure heart that really just wants to help people thrive and to live their best life. And so thank you for being here and being someone that's a kindred spirit and a beautiful heart. I hope more people will see that there is beauty in the world today.
Yes.
That there are good things happening. They're just not being reported. And so if anyone needed that positive message today, I hope that gives you some patience with what's going on in the world and today. And know there are positive sources out here for you. You just have to look for them. And there are those that are ready and willing to help. And so with that, we'll say goodbye. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, audience. And we'll see you next time.